LoveLaRie here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the Grove Resort and Spa. A few weeks ago, my family and I went out to Orlando for my children's spring break. My main goal of the trip was for my kids to have fun and for us to relax a little bit. I knew it was going to be very much water park oriented. The main reason I booked that resort is, mainly for the kids to have a fun getaway. I knew we had other trips coming up, so this was mostly for them. I really didn't have a big interest in going to the spa, so I won't be reviewing the spa because I did not check out their spa. I made a list because there were just so many things I wanted to. First, I'm going to start with the grounds. Upon entering the resort, driving into the main street that leads to the resort, it looked stunning. It was a palm tree lined street with lush, beautifully manicured lawns. It was jaw dropping. It was like, wow, it made a wonderful first impression. So we drove what felt like a block to a block and a half in length. That's just all tree lined. And then you make a right turn. You drive another block or so. And then that's where it leads you to the main entrance of the resort, which was also beautiful. It had a beautiful water fountain out front. The actual buildings were painted a nice color that was just very muted and subtle, but very pretty and tasteful. It looked very beautiful. Great curb appeal. So I'm like, yes, this place is gorgeous. We got into the lobby. Very beautiful. Only thing that was off-putting about the lobby was the perfume that they used. It was very heavy, and I have a sensitive nose, but even if my nose weren't sensitive, it was a very strong perfumey smell, which was almost too much to bear. I almost wanted to leave out and ask my husband to check us in because it was kind of strong, but we got out of there in time. We were greeted. The staff in general were really nice, from the pool to just throughout the property. So we got all checked in, pretty smooth process. They gave us our wristbands, the keys, etc. We went up to, and it's a huge property. There's multiple buildings. They didn't give us a map, which I found to be odd, but it turns out you can download their app. Everyone wants you to download their app, right? I ended up downloading it a little bit later. I didn't really need it because in time I saw that, though the property is really big, it's easy to navigate. So we get checked in, we go to our apartment. Now this is where things get a little tricky.
Take pause.
We got to our apartment. We were on the 5th floor. We ended up parking on the 4th floor because they tried to send us upstairs to open air parking, and we didn't want to worry about having to bake every time we got in the car. So we actually parked on the 4th level, and we would just walk upstairs to the 5th floor. There were elevators, of course, but it was just faster just to walk up the stairs than wait around for the elevator. That's one thing that I noticed as well. The elevators were pretty slow. Also, as we're walking through the hallways, which I didn't get footage of, there's a portion where it's outdoors. That was pretty because you get a view of the gorgeous fountain. But once you open that door, the hallways didn't get a lot of love. They actually looked very run down, which was disappointing for this property because up until that point, everything looked beautiful. Get in the hallway and there's just no love. The hallways looked very outdated. There were stains in the carpet. The walls looked a little beat up. That was disappointing because that's one of the first things you see every time you open your door and you leave your apartment. So we traveled to our apartment, and as a matter of fact, I have been into a number of the buildings or the different wings that they had, and all of the hallways looked the same with the exception of one that was near the restaurant. That one looked newer. Anyway, they seriously need to update the carpet in all of these buildings because it looked terrible. The hallways in general just looked really sad, and like there was nothing put into them. Like they didn't even look basic. They just looked terrible. I just want to be honest. This is going to be a full review. It's going to be an honest review. So we got into the apartment. Again, I was a little deflated because I was expecting more color, more attention to detail and design as advertised on the website. I booked this apartment with color in mind. As a creative, I appreciate color, but this apartment was very much all white, black, and gray. And I get the appeal for them to want to paint everything black and white. It's easy if you need to repaint and things like that. When you put a little more custom details in there, then of course there's going to be a little more upkeep with that. It's going to be more expensive to upkeep something like that. But I felt like they should be more forthcoming on the website in terms of what the decor looks like, because There was very little, and a little bit was there. It was very black and white and bland. Like the apartment was just super bland in terms of decorations. And that was one of the draws for me, was the beauty of the apartments that I saw listed on the website. I was not expecting to get there and not see any color. That was kind of a downer. I almost felt compelled to go buy some flowers and decorate the apartment because it lacked that much decoration. And I think that's part of why I didn't film much of the apartment. I did a quick tour for you, and you can watch it in the video. I will link it here. It might actually be linked here, so check that out after you watch this. So the apartment itself, it was a fantastic size. It had the washer and dryer, tons of space for the kids and hubby and I. It had a really nice balcony where we could look out and see the small fountain. The first night we were there, it was kind of noisy with people being up late and letting their kids scream and cry on their porches. I thought that was really weird. 10 o'clock, there's a baby out on the balcony crying. I was a little worried. But after that night, it toned down, so I was really grateful for that. Overall, the apartment was nice, but definitely a letdown because I was expecting more design, more color, more oomph, which was kind of a bummer. Whenever I book lodging with my being in the room in mind. I am not one of those people who book a hotel and I don't care what it looks like because I know I won't be there. I'm one of those people, and you let me know if you're one of those people too. I'm one of those people, when I book a hotel, I want it to look beautiful because I know I'm going to spend some time in the room. A beautiful room is also a part of my lodging experience and my time traveling. I want to count that as a part of my trip. It's not one of those toss away things for me, where when I was much younger and I'd stay at a hostel or the local hojo or whatever, I didn't care. I knew I'd be hanging out all day, all night. Didn't matter. I'm just going to sleep, shower, change my clothes. And now that I'm older and I have a family of my own, being able to kick back and relax at the end of the evening if I want, or go back and hang out with the kids for a bit and cook or do something like that, I want to be very comfortable in the space. I want it to be inspiring and beautiful. I love design, I love decor, and I'm not saying it has to be the Ritz, but I just wish there were a little bit more love put into the actual furnishings, decorations, and decor as shown on the website. So that was a big letdown. That was one of the big letdowns for me. There was a moment where I called about the bathroom. The toilet had backed up, and it took them 2 days to come service the bathroom. So we were without that bathroom for 2 days, essentially because we were worried about the toilet overflowing. So that was kind of a bummer as well. We had to keep calling to ask them to come repair the toilet. Other than that, the apartment was fine. The air worked well, all of those things. Now let's get into spa and water park. Honestly, after I saw the apartment, I was a little annoyed and I didn't want to check out the spa. I'm like, I'm not gonna go all the way over to the spa only to be disappointed. I was no longer interested in checking out the spa. So the first day we didn't really get to check out the water park because there were some storms nearby, and I guess when there's lightning, they close all of the pools. So the pool was closed and we had to wait. And by the time we got back, it was even later because we had gotten to the resort later in the afternoon to begin with. Next day we got up. Oh my gosh. I looked the morning of, we could see a line from our balcony, and we were a good distance from the water park. So the line was up the sidewalk, and I'm thinking like, why are all of these people outside? But now I understand why. If you don't get there before the park opens to grab a seat, when you do arrive, you're going to be walking around. There's going to be nowhere for you to sit. If I spend a large amount of money at a water park, resort / hotel, I want to know that I'm going to have somewhere to sit when it's time to go to the pool. I don't want to be walking around with my beach bag and all our stuff, all of our things, looking for a seat, which was the case. I was like, oh no, this is terrible. They had beach cabanas available for rental for $200 for the day. But I ended up waiting around. There were literally no seats. A lot of people come, you know what they do? They stand in line. They put their towels on the chair and they leave the park. They don't even come back. They'll set a bag there and a towel as if they're there. They'll go do whatever they want to do on the property, and then they come back eventually, I guess. Because I saw a number of seats you can just kind of watch and look around and see no one's coming for them, no one's sitting in them. But it's kind of hard to tell because there were, of course, seats where people were coming back to them. I ended up chatting with a gentleman that was there with his 2 children. They had an extra seat available where his kids were going to sit, but they were at the pool and they were in the lazy river. So he was like, you can put your things here. You can hang out here if you want. But it was annoying that I couldn't find a seat as a paying guest with 3 other guests that were there with me. We couldn't even get a seat to sit in. I don't know how much of the resort was booked, but it was pretty busy. It was decently busy. It wasn't super busy, but there were no seats, honey, and I was not feeling that. The actual pool was beautiful. The kids and I had fun. My hubby had fun. The slides were fun. The children's little water park feature is adorable. A lot of fun. Those are well taken care of. The staff were really sweet and friendly. So in terms of the water park and the slides and things like that, those were great. It's just the seating that was terrible. So we did end up getting food at the restaurant that's located within the water park. It was pretty prompt service. It wasn't too bad. There was a wait, but it wasn't unbearable. There was a really cute outdoor bar that was really nice, and they made great drinks. The food came out fast. Very simple beachside food, sandwiches, chips, fries, that sort of thing. It's just, like I said, the seating was no bueno, which is very important because if you're splashing in the pool at some point, you're gonna wanna set your things down, or you may go down with things, or you wanna have a seat. There was nowhere to sit. Now, also in terms of its location, is it in a good location for anyone who might want to know? The location is not the greatest because if you wanted to, for example, run to CVS, it's going to take you more than an hour round trip just because of the way the streets are set up. There were a few other large water parks nearby and just amusement parks and things, and we're not that far from Disney World. But in terms of getting around, for example, leaving our apartment door to door to go to CVS because my daughter felt a little nauseous on the trip, it took more than an hour just because of the layout of the street. You have to drive down and do that whole turnaround thing, and then the roads are long, and then at some point there was traffic, lots of traffic. So in terms of just ease of movement and getting around, it's not set up for you to run out, pop out, and run a quick errand at all. There was also a time where I went to the grocery store. That took me forever. It's weird because there were stores there. They're along the street. It's just getting to them was another matter. It just took a long time between the traffic and just the layout of the streets and how everything's set up where you have to do the big loop-de-loop. Yeah, there weren't a lot of ways for you to kind of go around, make a right turn, and go up another street. In terms of getting around, that's really difficult. You are definitely going to want to be prepared when you get there, do your grocery run or anything like that. Or when you go out for the day, you're definitely going to want to just plan for the time it takes to leave and come back. You're not going to do a quick run to Target or a quick run to CVS. That sort of thing's not happening. Of course, if you're going out to dinner, that's different. You're driving out, you're expecting to be away for a while. But when you need to run a quick errand, that's not really doable. They do have a small store on the property at the resort, but they weren't, they didn't have a selection, of course, like CVS. In terms of what I liked most, I did like the grounds. They were really beautiful, well taken care of. And I liked the lazy river. That was a lot of fun. I also liked that the staff was friendly and kind. I also liked that the water park, you could tell that the lifeguards and the people they had watching the children and watching the pools and watching everything going on, they were on their job. They did a really good job of watching out for people, especially people coming down the slides. The staff was great about that. They were really on top of it. So I loved seeing safety being strongly considered. That was nice to see. Right here, you can watch my tour and vlog of the trip. We made it into a great time. Even though I was not crazy about the apartment, we did have a wonderful trip. We all had fun and we made the best of it. You can watch that vlog right here. Now, in terms of rating this place, and I don't typically rate places, I don't usually do in-depth reviews, but if I had to rate this place, I would give it 3.5 stars. I would not book it again. And if you have more questions about the Grove Resort and Water Park, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye.